Welcome back, beautiful souls. Today, I wanted to talk to you about an aspect of manifestation that is sometimes touched upon, but I don't see it talked about as much or spoken about and what could happen if you don't do this step. And I wanted to share with you because I have a very funny story in my personal life about a manifestation that came to fruition in a way that I did not see, and the outcome was certainly not what I expected. But before we get into that, I just invite you to close your eyes and feel into your heart space with compassion and without judgment, and just settle into your body here. What I wanted to talk to you about today is about being specific about your manifestation. Now, I've seen it spoken about that you should be specific because it can help you believe it more. But the other side of that is being specific so that your manifestation comes in a way or materializes in your life in a way that you are actually trying to manifest. Because sometimes the universe goes above and beyond and will surprise you with a manifestation that comes but perhaps isn't what you were exactly after. My story in relation to this is in relation to the peacock that I have living on this property. I've always loved peacocks. I remember when I was a young girl, my parents would take me to a public estate and we would have jam and scones, and then afterwards we would go and feed the peacocks. And I always just thought they were amazing birds. I've always loved them. But I never really thought about owning a peacock as such. Now, when I really started on this spiritual journey, this journey into falling in love with my life and myself, which started back in 2020, though I've been on a spiritual journey for longer than that, but I was really deep diving into it and making it a part of my daily routine back in 2020. And one of the things that I wanted to manifest, like many people, was abundance. For me, a symbol of abundance was a male peacock. You know, they are so glorious with all their colors. They're not a bird that you typically see. They're not a bird that's typically owned. And in my mind, I just thought, "Oh, that is an auspicious bird. That is a symbol of abundance." And I would manifest peacocks appearing in my life in ways that I could take home. So I have a cushion on my bed which has a peacock on it, which I picked up in an op shop just by chance. And I have a few other things like that related to peacocks. And I wanted to surround myself with this symbol because this was my symbol for abundance. And when I saw peacocks, I thought of abundance and I felt abundant. So I wanted to just gather peacocks around me for that feeling. After a couple of years or so, I kind of stepped away from a lot of my practices that I was doing. Life came up and I was focusing on the day-to-day grind, and I lost track of my manifestations. Some of those manifestations still came true and I didn't realize until later. But a lot of them, of course, lost energy and traction, and I hadn't done the inner work to then be able to manifest them. But recently, as I've come back into my manifestation practices, a lot of those manifestations have now started to come into fruition. So I still loved peacocks, and I still felt that they were symbols of abundance. And we were going through a process of renovating. I wanted to incorporate a peacock in the renovations, whether that was in a mural in the bathroom or some wallpaper in the bedroom, something like that. I just wanted that peacock symbol again in my life. And this was sort of before I was really coming back into my practices again, but I was kind of dabbling. I was kind of in that energy. I was doing readings for people, so I was on that spiritual wavelength, or I was in that energy of connecting to the quantum, connecting to the universe, and renewing my connection to the universe so that I was living in that energy again. I was putting a lot of focus on this, but I wasn't really attached to it. I knew something would happen, that I would have this peacock symbol in my house some way. So I wasn't attached to it and I wasn't specific about it. I hadn't really decided what I wanted it to be, so I wasn't being specific. Now, last year during winter, we got some really horrendous storms and it just poured down for weeks on end, and everything was flooding and soaked, and it was really awful to be outside. And one day, I came home and I looked out the window onto our front porch, and there was a peacock sitting there outside the window. And a peacock, he didn't have his tail feathers though. And I thought, oh, that's so strange. People in this sort of area have peacocks. They're not super common, not common enough that you would see them wandering around normally. So I was quite surprised, but I assumed since he'd come up to the porch and was sheltering under the porch by the window and wasn't scared about me walking past the window, that he was clearly owned. He was someone's pet. And I thought once the storm cleared that he would get up and be on his way. So I watched the peacock, and the storm came and went, and I didn't see him again. So I thought, oh, he's gone. That's good. I'm glad. I hope he finds his way home safe. But then the day after that, he returned. The sun was out. It was a beautiful day, and I thought, oh, that's kind of strange. And for a few days, I didn't feed him anything because I didn't want to create that association of he comes here for food in case he was someone's pet. I was still thinking that, and that he would eventually leave and go back to wherever he came from. But after a few days, I started to feel bad for him, so I started to feed him some nuts, and I posted on the local groups that I'd found a bird, an exotic bird, and people, if they had an exotic bird missing, to message me with the type of bird they were missing, because I didn't want someone to say yes, he was theirs, and when he wasn't. I wanted to reunite him with his owners. A few people messaged me, nothing really came of it. I put up little posters and I tried to notify the locals. No one came forward for him. So we thought, well, he's here now. we'll look after him. If he leaves and goes home, that's great. Maybe he doesn't have a home. When I thought back on it, I had seen a peacock walking through the bush up the road, walking towards our house. I didn't really think much of it. Sometimes there are feral peacocks around in the bush because they're very hard to contain. They do like to wander. But as he continued to stay, it became clear that what I feel is that he was looking for his next place. For some reason, he decided that that place was our property. He's been with us for about a year and a half now. There was one spell in spring where he disappeared for a few days, and we thought, oh, he's gone off to find some peahens. That's great. If he comes back, he comes back. If not, we kind of thought that he wouldn't be coming back because we don't have any other birds here at all. There's no chickens, there's no fowl or anything like that here that we own. Lots of wild birds. But he came back after a few days and he stayed. A few months later, we were talking to the neighbours. The neighbours had a dog that got out, and for some reason, their dogs, when they get out, they always come straight to our property. So we've gotten to know them because the dogs have come out a few times. Also, their goats come straight to our property, which is hilarious. I don't know why it's our property. There's others they could choose, but no, they really want to be on our property. So we've gotten to know them, and the first time that I met them and we talked, they said, oh, you're the ones with the peacock. We said yes, and they said, oh, he came and stayed with us for a few days, but then he left. So clearly he went shopping around in spring just to see if there was any better options out there. But coming back to my main point, which is being specific with your manifestations. I was not interested in having a physical peacock. I love animals, but I didn't want any more animals to look after. I already have enough animals. I have to fight the urge to adopt more animals every day of my life. But I know that I couldn't give more animals the life that they deserve. So I have decided not to get any more animals at this time. And I've been quite content with that. I enjoy playing with other people's animals and other people's friends' pets and things like that. But no more responsibility for me on that front. So I wasn't trying to manifest a physical peacock. I was trying to manifest a mural in the bathroom or some wallpaper or some kind of decoration in the house. I wasn't specific enough because in my mind, all I was focusing on was, oh, it's going to be so beautiful. This peacock is going to be so beautiful. I'm so excited for that. And so the universe had a literal peacock come out of the bush to our property to stay. And we love him. He's such a character. He's very funny. Makes a terrible mess. You know, a lot of birds like that do, which is another reason why I kind of wasn't interested in having large birds. But we love him. We adore him. We're so happy that he's here, that he is living his best life. But if I had been more specific about my manifestation and kind of focused more on that this is a decoration to go in the house. I think he probably wouldn't have turned up on our doorstep, but he is a great example of how, one, the universe is bringing you what you want, even if it's not in the way that you think it's going to come. And two, the universe can literally manifest things out of nothing with no effort. Your manifestations, if you believe it enough, can turn up at your doorstep or at your front porch, which is exactly what happened with him. So when I think about manifesting, I now use him as a thought example of how magical the universe is, but also how I need to be specific, and how the universe has a sense of humor. I've mentioned that before, and I really do feel like, and perhaps that is just because it's my energy and my manifestations, but I really feel like the universe has a great sense of humor, that it is playful and fun, and it doesn't have to be serious. And if I am playful and fun with the universe, if I am just enjoying it and having that light energy, I find my manifestations come faster and easier, and they are bigger and better than anything that I ever expected. So that's the little story about how our peacock turned up at our literal front door, and how my manifestation arrived in a bigger and better way than I expected. I never actually did get wallpaper or a mural. It was very funny in that mentally, after he arrived, I thought, oh well, I've got my peacock. I don't need a depiction of a peacock. I have a literal one in my backyard. So and he has grown up to be gorgeous, full feathers. They lose them in winter, but you know, this year they've come back twice as big and beautiful, and he's great. He's so much fun. So this could happen to you too. Whether you'll enjoy it as much as I do slash did, I don't know. But it's just a fun thing to think about. It's a fun story. It's very affirming. So if you feel like your manifestations have never come for you, perhaps just look and see if they've come in a less specific way than what you thought, because you were not specific enough. That's all I have for you today. Wishing you lots of love and excitement and unexpected but appreciated surprises, good surprises on your journey to falling in love with life. And I'll see you in the next one.